So now let's go ahead and set up the URL patterns for this particular detail view right here. So in order to set that, let's go to the urls.py file, and in here what you simply now need to do is that you need to type in path. Then you need to set up the URL. So in here what we wish to do is that we only wish to get the items ID. So for example, if you type in the URL /1, that means you want to get the item whose ID is 1. If you type in URL /2, you want to get the item's ID as 2. So in here, for this particular path, we want to get the ID which we have passed in here. So in order to get that, I can simply go ahead and type in int, because we want to say that we want to use an integer over here. And in here I can simply type in ID, and then I'll go ahead and simply give a slash as we do with every URL. And now we want to access the view, which is nothing but the detail view. So in order to do that, I will type in views.detail, and the name of this view is going to be nothing but the detail view. So once we have that, let's give a comma and let's see if this thing actually works out. So let me make sure that the server is up and running. And now if we go right here, and now if we do /1 and hit enter, as you can see, now we get the detail page for this particular watch right here. So as you can see, the detail page actually looks pretty boring and dull. So we have the watch over here, and we have the watch title, the actual price, the discounted price, and we have the description as well. And as you can see, it looks pretty dull and boring, and it kind of looks ugly as well, because no e-commerce site would actually list out their products in this way. So we are actually going to do that, or we are actually going to design this particular thing in the upcoming lectures, but for now we just want to make sure that our product actually works. So currently everything works fine, as we are able to access these details in here. So now let's go ahead and do the same thing for some other products. So let's say I type in the product ID as 3. I now get the details of this particular bike right here, which says that the product's name is bike, the actual price is 300, discounted price is 200, and we have the product's description over here as well. So we will be styling that in the upcoming lectures. So for now you can just work with this, and if you want you can fix this right now as well. You simply have to go ahead and attach a CSS file with the particular detail view, and you can just go ahead and make some changes in the CSS file. So right now what we want to focus on is that we want to go ahead and create 2 buttons in here. So if you actually go to the index page, we actually want to create a button here which says view the item, which allows us to go to the detail view of that particular item, and then we actually want to have the add to cart button over here as well. So in here we actually want to have the view item button, which is actually going to allow us to view the item's detail page whenever we click on that particular item. And here in the bottom we actually want to add a button which says something like add to cart. So let's go ahead and add those 2 buttons in here. So let's go back to our code for the index.html page, and in here if you go inside this product objects, as you can see we have this column, then we have this card. So this card ends here, and this is actually a div for the card body. So right inside the card body I can go ahead and create a new button in here. So I can see something like button, and the class for this is going to be, let's say, btn -warning, and I can say something like, let's say, view, and right at the bottom I can go ahead and create another button class. So I can just go ahead and copy that, and I can paste it in here, and I can say something like add to cart. So let's see how exactly this thing looks like. So as you can see, if I hit refresh, we have the view and the add to cart buttons in here. So now once we have these buttons, you can now go ahead and make these things as functional. So one thing which you could do here is that instead of having the button, we can use the A tags in here as well. So that is actually going to be a link, but they will function as a button. So now if you hit refresh, as you can see, they look pretty much the same due to the bootstrap class, which is the btn class, but these things are now actually links. And now in here, what we wish to do is that we want to add the actual links to those products. So for example, when I click on this particular button, I should be actually redirected to this page, which is /1, which is going to be the detail page for the product whose ID is 1. So how exactly can I go ahead and implement that? So in order to implement that, I can simply type in href, and I can equate this thing to /, and in here I can simply go ahead and access the product ID. So I can say something like product, which is nothing but the current object right here, and instead of the product's title or the product's price, I want to access ID, so I'll simply type in product.id. So now let's see what happens in here. So if I hit refresh now, and if I go ahead and click on this, for some weird reason it's giving me a different ID in here. So let me just go ahead and see what happened in here. Okay, so I guess we are missing a closing bracket in here, and once we go ahead and fix that, this should actually work. So yeah, now if I go to view, as you can see, the view has redirected me to the product detail page of that particular product. So now let's click on this thing, and as you can see, now you have the detail page for laptop in here. It looks pretty ugly, but it's at least functional. So now let's click on this, and you have the detail for bike, and let's click on the bag, and you have the detail page for the bag as well, which means that the detail view functionality is completed, and now we can access the details of the products which we have in here. So that's it for this lecture, and in the upcoming lecture what we will do is that we'll go ahead and make this add to cart button functional as well. So whenever you click this particular add to cart button, this particular product should be added up to your cart. So we are going to create the cart functionality, and the cart functionality is going to take at least 2 to 3 lectures to be fully functional. So we are actually going to proceed that particular section in a much more relaxed way, as there is actually going to be the usage of a little bit of jQuery and JavaScript. So obviously some of you might know and some of you might not know how to use jQuery and JavaScript. So we are going to go through that as well. So that's it for this lecture, and in the upcoming lecture let's start building the cart for our e-commerce website. So thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Thank you.